On behalf of Zoological Society of Assam, I would like to welcome the students pursuing their graduation in zoology. In this presentation, I will be discussing about animal tissues, specifically epithelial tissues. The learning outcomes from this presentation will be to know about the structure, location, classification, and functions of epithelial tissues. But before we go into the details, let us go check the background and history about tissues. We define tissues as aggregate of similar cells and cell products forming a definite kind of structural material with specific function in multicellular organisms. The term tissue was introduced by a French anatomist, Marie-Francoise Xavier Bichat, who is also considered as the father of modern histology and pathology. Histology is the study of microscopic anatomy of cells and tissues of both plants and animals, and this term was given by a German anatomist, August Meyer, in 1819. An Italian anatomist and microscopist, Marcello Malfigi, is considered as father of microscopic anatomy. Now, a tissue is made up of one or many types of cells of common embryonic origin and same functions. Animal tissues can be classified broadly into four basic types on the basis of structure and function into epithelial tissues, connective tissues, muscular tissues, and nervous tissue. So epithelial tissues, they provide protection, absorption, filtration, and secretion. The purpose of connective tissue is to provide attachment, protection, storage, internal support, transport, locomotion, and movement. Muscular tissues help in body movement and also help in moving blood, food, waste products, and perform mechanical digestion. The role of nervous tissue is the conduction of impulses to and from the body organs. So in this presentation, we will discuss epithelial tissues. So an epithelium is a sheet of cells that covers an external or internal surface, forming a protective covering lining the outside and all organs of the body cavity, as well as ducts and passageways. An epithelial tissue arises from all the three primordial germ layers, which are ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. So from the ectoderm, skin epidermis arises. From the mesoderm, the mesothelium arises. And from the endoderm, the gut epithelium arises. So now let us see the characteristics of epithelial tissues. Epithelial tissues, they are composed of cells which are of different shapes. The cells are closely attached to each other, forming protective barrier. They always have one free surface which opens to the outside or inside an internal organ. The epithelial tissues always have one fixed basal section attached to underlying connective tissue through a basement membrane. The epithelial tissues are devoid of blood vessels and hence they are considered as avascular. The epithelial tissues derive their nutrition from blood vessels which are present in the connective tissue underneath. And epithelial tissues have lots of nerve and hence they are innervated and have very good power of repair or regeneration after injury. Now let us see how epithelial tissues are classified. So based on the structure and function of epithelial tissues, we can classify them into two main groups, simple epithelium and compound epithelium together constituting the covering epithelium and then the glandular epithelium. So we divide epithelial tissue into covering epithelium and glandular epithelium. So covering epithelium can be again divided into simple epithelium and compound epithelium. Simple epithelium consists of a single layer of similar cells usually found on absorptive and secretory surfaces, and they are classified according to their shape. So simple epithelium, which are single layered, they can be again classified into squamous, cuboidal, columnar, ciliated and pseudostratified, and this classification is on the basis of shape. Compound epithelium, which is multi-layered, can be divided into stratified compound epithelium and transitional compound epithelium. Further, stratified compound epithelium can be divided into squamous, cuboidal and columnar. Now let us see simple epithelium. So simple epithelium consists of single layer of cells. So the first type of simple epithelium, which is simple squamous pavemented epithelium, it is composed of single layer of flat tile-like polygonal cells which have irregular boundaries. So these cells have irregular boundaries and they are flat and tile-like and polygonal. Their location is lining of lungs, capillary walls and blood vessels, and their main function is that they form thin layer across which diffusion of materials like gas and liquid can readily occur. In the second type of simple epithelium, which is cuboidal epithelium, it consists of short cube-shaped cells with round nuclei located in the center of the cell. This also forms germinal epithelium, which produces gametes. So, simple cuboidal epithelium comprises the germinal epithelium that produces gametes, and its location is lining of some glands and kidney tubules covering of ovaries. These cells are rich in specific transport channels and they function in secretion and absorption, and their characteristic cell type is mainly gland cells. So these gland cells, they can secrete hormones. The third type of simple epithelial cells, which is simple columnar cells, these cells are rectangular in shape and their height exceeds the width. The height of the cells is greater than the width of the cells. The outer free surface of each cell is slightly broader, and the elongated nuclei, they lie near the base of the cells. So generally the nuclei lie in the base of the cells, and these cells are scattered in the respiratory and gastrointestinal tract. So their typical location is surface lining of stomach, intestines, parts of respiratory tract, and their function is to provide protection in and also function in secretion and absorption. Simple ciliated epithelial cells are formed of cuboidal or columnar cells having fine hair-like cilia. So these cells comprising the simple ciliated epithelium, they possess cilia, and their location is certain parts of nephrons of kidney, lining of the fallopian tubes and most of the respiratory passages. And the function of this ciliated epithelium is to propel ova towards the uterus and also mucus towards the pharynx. The fifth type of simple epithelial cells, which are simple pseudostratified columnar epithelial cells. So this term pseudostratified comes from the fact that their appearance appearance gives an erroneous impression that there is more than one layer of cells. Basically, pseudostratified epithelial cells are single-layered and there are few basal cells which are smaller in size and they do not reach the free surface. All the cells rest on the basement membrane. Now there are two types of pseudostratified cells, non-ciliated which do not have cilia and ciliated which have cilia. The location of non-ciliated epithelial cells, pseudostratified epithelial cells, are the sperm-carrying ducts of males and large glands, while the ciliated variety lines the trachea and most of the upper respiratory tract. The function of pseudostratified epithelial cells is to provide protection, secretion, movement of the secretions, that is urine and semen, and also removing dust particles and germs from the trachea towards the larynx. So secretion of mucus, and the ciliated cells help in the movement of mucus and also provide protection. Now let us see compound epithelium. Compound epithelium consists of many layers of cells which are of different shapes. The superficial layers grow up from below and the basement membranes are generally absent. The main function of compound epithelium is to protect the underlying structures. Compound epithelium cells are further divided into stratified squamous epithelium. So stratified squamous epithelium consists of two or more layers of cells of different shapes. In the deepest layers, the cells are mainly columnar, and as they grow towards the surface, they become flattened. Stratified squamous epithelium are of two types, non-keratinized and keratinized. So non-keratinized stratified epithelium lines the wet surfaces that may be subjected to wear and tear and also protect them from drying. For example, the oral cavity, esophagus, vagina and conjunctiva of the eyes. The keratinized stratified epithelium has surface layer of dead epithelial cells to which the keratin protein is added, and they are generally present in dry surfaces like skin, hair and nails. The second type of compound epithelium is stratified cuboidal epithelium, which are located in the largest ducts of sweat glands, mammary glands, salivary glands and gonads. The location of these stratified cuboidal epithelium is these glands, sweat glands, mammary glands, salivary glands and also the gonads. And the function of stratified cuboidal epithelium is to produce the hormones, both male and female hormones, and also the production of sperm in males. Stratified columnar epithelium is a rare type of epithelial tissue which is composed of two or more layers of columnar epithelial cells. The location of stratified columnar epithelium is some parts of the body like anus, conjunctiva in the eyes, uterus and also the pharynx. And the main function of these type of cells is protection and secretion. The transitional epithelium or the transitional compound epithelium is also referred to as the urothelium. It accommodates great stretching and it is called transitional because it has some features which are intermediate between stratified cuboidal and stratified squamous epithelium. In the relaxed condition, it appears to be 4 or 5 cell layers, but when stretched out, it appears to have only 2 to 3 layers of flattened cells. So it is also called urothelium. Another reason why it is called urothelium is transitional compound epithelium is present in the urinary system, and the function of these epithelial cells are stretching and distension of urinary organs by the contained urine. Now let us discuss about the third type of epithelial cells, which are glandular epithelium. Some group of epithelial cells are also called glands because they contain secretory cells inside which zymogen granules are present. And glands can be classified on the basis of presence or absence of ducts as exocrine glands and endocrine glands. So exocrine glands are those that secrete their products into the ducts that lead to the external environment. For example, sweat glands, salivary glands, mammary glands, stomach, liver and pancreas. So these are glands which possess ducts. The endocrine glands are those glands which do not possess ducts, and therefore their secretions, which are generally hormones, they are released directly into the interstitial fluid and the bloodstream. So we classify glands on the basis of whether ducts are present or not into exocrine glands and endocrine glands. Now let us focus on the functions of epithelial tissues. The epithelial tissue performs numerous functions which are protection, that means mechanical injury, protection from mechanical injury, harmful chemicals, invading bacteria, and also from the excessive loss of water. The second important function of epithelial tissues is excretion. Excretion of wastes and reabsorption of materials from the urine. The third function of epithelial tissue is secretion of enzymes, hormones and lubricating fluids. Another function is sensation. The sensory stimuli penetrate specialized epithelial cells which are present in the skin, eyes, ears, nose and tongue. A very important function is absorption. So epithelial cells which are present in the lining of small intestines, they help in the absorption of digested nutrients from the food. Conduction is another function of epithelial tissue in which the ciliated epithelium conducts mucus in passages that they line. Diffusion is another function of epithelial tissues. So diffusion of gases, liquids and nutrients occurs in the walls of capillaries and lungs in which the epithelial tissues are present. Epithelial tissues also help in cleaning, removal of dust particles and foreign bodies from the air passages. The epithelial tissues also reduce friction. The smooth, tightly interlocking epithelial cells of the circulatory system reduce the friction between blood and walls of the blood vessels, thereby reducing the friction. A very important function of epithelial tissues is also to help in reproduction by producing sperm and ova. The germinal epithelium of gonads produces sperm and ova, thereby helping in reproduction. And epithelial tissues also help in regeneration by helping in wound healing and repairing. So thank you very much for your attention. In case of any queries and doubts, you can contact me in my email.